Welcome to chapter 7 of the book of Proverbs, the strange and the wicked wife. I'll begin with reading a little in the Greek, and then we'll go into the proverb. Ie philase amus logus, tase amas entolas krypson parasiavto. Ia tima ton kyrion, ke eschisis. Plin they avtu mi fovu alon. Philaxon imas entolas, ke viosis. O son, keep my words. And this is what we're reading about, the words of Solomon wrote down as an instrument of God. And my commandments hide for yourself. And again, as we mentioned before, it doesn't mean hiding it from other people, but hide them within yourself. Put them inside, deep inside. O son, esteem the Lord. And esteeming the Lord is putting him up high. Jesus says that if you love your son or daughter more than me, then you're not worthy of me. He wants to be on the very top, to be esteemed. And how do you measure being esteemed? I suppose how much time you spend with something, or how much money you spend on something. If you esteemed something very valuable and you paid a lot of your money for it, then that would show an esteem. Or if you spent a lot of time with something, and hopefully that's with God. You can't buy God, but spending the time with God is showing your esteem for him. You want to know what he has to say. And you shall be strengthened, and you shall strengthen. And besides him, do not fear another. And Jesus mentions in the New Testament about don't fear those that can kill the body, but fear the one that can send your soul into Hades. Him you should fear. Keep my commandments, all these imperatives with the exclamation point, and you shall spend life. You'll live a good life by keeping God's commandments. Of course, as we mentioned so many times, this is the ideal. It doesn't happen with everybody. Some people die young keeping the commandments, but on the whole, as I mentioned in other places, I believe the more if a person spends his life with the Lord, he'll live a longer, on the whole, if you were able to measure it, which we probably can't, than somebody that doesn't walk with the Lord. That's my feeling. And my words, keep them, and my words as if the pupil of your eyes, and protecting. If somebody's going to stick their finger in your eye, you'd protect your eye really quick. And to protect the commandments, doing the commandments of God, as somebody that was going to poke you in the eye, and how you protect yourself. Verse 3, put them on your fingers, dactylis, dactyl is a finger, and inscribe them upon the width of your heart. Now, we mentioned before the heart is a muscle, but to the people, cardias, when this was written, it was a place where you put certain thoughts and feelings, and that's what they attributed to. Later, they used this word for an anatomy for the muscle that's in our heart, that's in our body. But now inscribing them upon the width of your heart. Now, that's a figure of speech, because even in the olden days, that place was within your body, within your soul, your living. To inscribe them, you could only inscribe on material, stones in those days, or some type of a papyrus or leather. But in other places, it mentions things about inscribing and putting them on something. And in Exodus 13:9, it says about the hand, and it will be to you for a sign upon your hand and a memorial before your eyes, that the law of the Lord should be in your mouth. So here we have these inscribing them upon your hand. And then in Deuteronomy 6:8, it says, and you shall affix them for a sign upon your hand, and it shall be unshaken before your eyes. Now the Jews, someplace along the line, got this messed up, and they put these little boxes, they call them phylacteries, on their forehead. And Jesus mentions them in not a good way in Matthew 23:5, and it says, Jesus says, and they widen their phylacteries and magnify the decorative hems of their cloaks, but they don't do the things of God. God didn't tell them to put these on their foreheads. No, there's no mention that I see that they're to put anything on their forehead. They could put them on their hand because it mentions the hand, and I believe some Jews I'm not sure if they put the phylacteries there or not, but these little boxes have scripture written in them, and they're called tefillin in the Jewish language. And so it's number 5440, phylactery. It only appears one place in the Bible, and that's the place I mentioned in Matthew 23:5. Then in Deuteronomy 6:9, it says, and you shall write them upon the lintels of your houses and your gates. So what this was, were called mezuzahs, and they're little metal boxes, and you could open them up and put the scripture like you could the phylactery, and they nailed them on their doorpost or by your door or your gate outside. And they still have these mezuzahs. You can buy them and put them on your house. Why not? Good thing to do. And then the soul mentions that in Proverbs 6:21, the last Proverbs, but affix them upon your soul always. So that's sort of like your heart. The soul is your life. Fix them in your life and your heart. Put them inside of you. All the things of God. And then the neck. Proverbs 3:3, it said, affix them upon your neck. And in Proverbs 6:21, it says, and bind them with a cord around your neck. Now, I don't know if the Jews do that, put them on their neck. They got the first one wrong with the phylactery on their forehead. Hopefully they get the other ones right. And then put them on your fingers like a ring. And that's in Proverbs 7:3. Put them on your fingers. And the heart, we just had that right here. And it's also in Proverbs 3:3, but write them upon the tablet of your heart. So all these places to put and inscribe the commandments and the words, my words and my commandments, to put them for us to remember them. Well, we have them in books now. We open the book. We have them in computers. You open up a little phone. I have my phone. You can open it up and download the Apostolic Bible, the whole thing like you see it right here. Put it on your phone and go right down and check it all out and have the Word of God right with you. All people download these daily throughout the world. It's wonderful, the availability now of the Bible throughout the world via the internet. Now, the printed editions are another story. Printing has come to an end because of the internet and people going to these gizmos, tablets, computers, phones, and standalone book readers. Amazon makes, I call it their Fire something. They're like a black screen, like you see right here, black and white. And all these things are now available so much for people to have. So now we have all these things, and then it goes in 4 and says, speak wisdom to be your sister. That's a figure of speech. Wisdom is not a person, but act like as a sister, somebody close to you. And procure to yourself intelligence as an acquaintance, like in a friend, a good friend, and procure intelligence. And procuring this wisdom and intelligence of talking about spiritual, from God through His Word goes into us. You can't really become intelligent I don't know if you can exercise yourself, you learn things and become more intelligent. I suppose you can, but I would think you're limited as far as how much intelligence you're able to fill up in yourself. And then the reason is that she should keep you, the wisdom, from the strange and wicked wife. And that's where I got the title for this proverb, the strange and the wicked wife. Now we have ginekos. Now I mentioned before it could be a woman or a wife. And now why didn't I use a woman here? That wisdom should keep you from the strange and wicked woman. Well, you could put that there and you would be correct, but in the context you wouldn't, because we will see here in the next verse or so why. And if she should put words for you for favor, trying to get your attention, more than your attention really, for from the window from out of her house she leans into the squares, at whomever she should behold of the foolish one's offsprings, a young man lacking sense. Now, exactly the scene here in some town, the houses, and apparently it talks about her being a woman, so adulteress, and she may be alone for whatever reason, and she is looking for a man, and she's married. The husband, it mentions the husband, one place the husband being, I think that was the last Proverbs, husband being gone doing business. I live in Newport, Oregon, right on the Oregon coast of the North Pacific Ocean. A lot of fishermen here, and I have gotten to know many of the fishermen, see how they live and what they do, and many of them have to go out for a long time. Many of them leave Oregon and they go across the ocean up into Alaska. Alaska is sticks out here, and then the coast of the United States goes down, and Oregon's way down here. So instead of going up and around, they go straight across like this, and it takes them a week with these boats from Oregon to get all the way up to Alaska, and they fish up there, sell the fish up in Alaska, and then they come back. There's a lot of boats that are up there in Alaska that fish there also, but so these fishermen are gone for sometimes months, and it can be a problem because the wife is at home and wanting a husband to be there with her, and no, he's not there. And so some of them go to this extreme of looking for another person to replace them, a young man lacking sense, somebody that will fill their desire. And he's passing by the corner in the corridors of her houses in the town, and he's going by, and she's there, and maybe it says at nighttime, speaking in darkness during the evening. He's walking down there, maybe had a few drinks, and whenever all is at rest nightly, nobody's out looking, seeing what's going on, didn't have any street lights like we do today. Back in these days, I doubt, and it was dim. You couldn't see early in the morning. And the wife, now again, I have wife here, meets with him, having the appearance of a pornicone, of a harlot. She's all dressed up and makes herself look really good to the young man who's going by. And it makes the heart of young men to flutter. They see her and, this woman likes me, and she's, reaching out to me. Maybe I should take advantage of the situation and go talk to her and see what happens and so forth. And she is inciting. She incites him, and carnal. So she gets him going, and he's going to fall for the trap. And her feet do not stay still in her house. She's doing everything she can to bring the man in to fulfill her lack, her need, or lack of having relations. For at certain time she strays outside, but another time she lies in wait in the squares by every corner. And so she'll be at places where the men are, I suppose, and maybe some will get to know that, well, this is, somebody that's easy to get acquainted with. Then, taking hold, she fondles him. So the guy comes over and talks to her, and people are gone. It's at nighttime, and she'll start putting her arms around him and other things and getting him excited. And with impudent face, she says to him, she doesn't care, "There is a peace sacrifice with me today." Now, what's that all about? Well, number 6:2, it says, "A man or woman, whoever should greatly vow a vow to purify oneself, in purity to the Lord," has to be pure. That is not being on the menstrual cycle. For a woman, she's not unclean, Levitically unclean. She's was able to make the vow. "Today I rendered my vows," shows that she is showing him that she is clean. He wouldn't know because he's not the husband, but she lets it known to him that you're not going to be unclean coming to be with me. Sort of, what's the word for it? Going around the back doorway instead of, you think that, well, they would be unclean because of what he's trying to do, but she's trying to make him not feel guilty for what he's trying to do by showing that she's clean. Sort of a convoluted way, but it was what happened here. And it says, "Because of this, I come forth for meeting you. I'm feeling the absence of your face. I found you." And maybe she knows this young man before, not the first time. "In trimming, I have stretched my bed, made my bed really nice, and I spread spreads from Egypt." The writer here is making it sound really nice, and she's got everything set up for him. And I doubt if the man really cares about the bedspreads and the bed, but it's using this as almost a figure of speech of how the not the attitude, but the environment is all set up for this interlude with these two people. "I have sprinkled my bed with saffron." I'm not sure what saffron smells or not. "In my house with cinnamon," which it does, making it very clean and nice. "Come, for we should enjoy friendship until dawn." Come on in and friendship. Philias. Philadelphia, Phila, friendship, city of brotherly love, Phila. So we should enjoy friendship. Well, it's more than friendship, of course. "Come, and we should wrap up in eroti, passion." Here's the word you can add to your English derivatives book. I'm not sure how many places it appears, but we have 2064 erotic comes from this, so that's why it's a derivative for your English derivative book. And we have agape and phileo. Phileo is friend up here, friend, friendly, and then agape is a godly type of love, and here is passion. The other word for love in English language, they had three for different words in Greek, meaning different things. "For my husband is not at hand." See, now there we see the husband. So the whole time, so it was a wife. Because you can see from the context, even though it's far away from the word of the gynekos. "And my husband is not at hand in the house. He has gone a long way. I guess before I was thinking I had already done this, but I hadn't. So he's gone a long way, taken a bundle of silver in his hands, for only after many days will he come back to his house like the fisherman. You're safe, as long as nobody sees. And she led him astray with much companionship and also nooses. So yes, he was able to be satisfied, his desire for have relations with the woman, but when it happened, a noose was put around his neck. Noose is something that you hang and kill a person. By the things from her lips, she led him aground. And now here I saw that, and I'm thinking aground. Boy, that goes right in with the fisherman. She led him aground, fisherman. And he followed after her, being easily led on. And as an ox is led unto slaughter, and as a dog unto the bonds, being tied up, and as a stag, a male deer, shot with a bow, striking into the liver, killing it, but he hastens as a fowl, the young man, with the woman into a snare, not seeing that he runs for his life. He should be running for his life, getting away from this woman and not falling for it, finding a woman that's not married. Now, there's no place in the Bible that I know of that says that's anything bad. If a young man, we went through that last proverb or so, looking for relations, wants to have relations and look for a woman, hopefully a woman, it says in the Bible, not to be yoked with an unbeliever. Find somebody that loves the Lord, asks the Lord, and hopefully he'll answer your prayer. Now then, O son, hear me, and take heed to the sayings of my mouth. Again, now Solomon's saying these things. I was going to write down how Solomon never listened to his own advice, unfortunately, at the end of his life. I'll do that in another video here, though. We'll go through Solomon in the end of his life. Do not turn aside to her ways with your heart, and you should not be misled by her shortcuts. And she is the woman, the wife is what's talking about, is the one doing these things. Now, that doesn't let off the young man. That's if he's going to her and committing adultery, that is a terrible thing. He should, the adultery, they would both be stoned to death. And it was forbidden by God in many places. For she has thrown down many in piercing. Now, maybe not necessarily this one woman, but the condition of adultery has thrown many people down, destroyed them, destroyed the marriage, destroyed the woman, destroyed the young man, and all sorts of bad things. And innumerable are whom she has murdered. Now, I don't think it's necessarily herself murdering the person, but it could be referring to what we saw in the last Proverb 6 of the husband's rage, wanting to kill the man who is having relations with his wife if he catches him. Her house is the way of Hades. If you are caught doing adultery, well, I don't know. It doesn't sound, I wouldn't want to be there and then lose your life. Would you end up in Hades? Probably, because it says they lead the ways. They lead down into the storerooms of death, the Tamia, storeroom. In the New Testament, it talks about the inner chambers. Now, what inner chambers there are in Hades, different levels. Greek mythology gets into that a lot. But there may be different levels. Jesus, I'm not sure. I have to look and do a study on that. Lower Hades, I believe it might he might mention lower Hades. So there's probably different areas of this hellhole, basically, that people will end up in that walk away from God, get caught in various bad situations, starting with unbelief mainly. Next video seminar, we go into chapter 8. Again, I don't have the title there, but I hope you join us in Proverbs 8. See you then. God bless.